Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. I am going to be doing a video on Jak'Sho this time because my Heartsteel video did really well and I'm glad to see people were so interested in a topic which I'm very excited for. So I'm going to be doing Jak'Sho today because I think this is probably the best tank mythic and the one that most tanks should be running. I think for the Heartsteel video I wanted to clarify something. I think the item is good. Like, there are places where the item is good, but it is probably the most volatile item in current League of Legends, where there are times where you can get 5 procs in one team fight, and you can go against a team with no percentage health, and this item is broken. Like, no, you are a 7k health tank with more to 300 of each resistances, and sometimes it just becomes unplayable. But it can also fall really flat, and I think as people learn to build percentage health and the meta develops and people understand that the item is countered by certain dynamics within the lane, it will just begin to fall out of favor and it will probably need to be buffed. But the concern is in low elo it will probably stay strong where people can't struggle to make their own choices and spend a lot of time looking at guides. So where it may be a good opportunity, like good time to go Bork or LDR or Leandries, they'll opt to go like Ludens and stuff, which would then make the item strong. And yeah, so it's going to be a difficult balancing act, and I think that will be the end result where it's a strong low elo item. Where they either have to change it a bit to fix it from being strong in low elo, or it will just stay as a strong low elo item and probably fall flat in high elo where people know how to play against it. So I'm going to do Jak'Sho today, and I'm going to go down. I'll probably go from down to up because I took it from the last tier list where most of the tanks are at the top actually, so it'll probably be best to go from bottom to top. So most of the champs here will not be good to begin with, where you have your things like Ryze and Jace and Yasuo and Teemo and Cassie. I don't think it's great on the burn champions. I could be wrong, but yeah, it doesn't look like it. Very few games. Akshan, Graves, Heimerdinger, Kale, Kennen, Quinn. Rengar might be the first, where it's like a bit more. There are games maybe. Hardly. It's also kind of. I'll put him in D because I could see a realm where you're going like a tank Rengar and Jak'Sho might be the best option. So I can go there. Yorick is a champ which I think is kind of tight to Sheen items, but he can also go lethality. I know lethality Yorick's quite popular. Yeah, another champ which also doesn't really build it that much. It's definitely a significantly less popular than Heartsteel. I think mainly because people like the idea of a stacking item, and stacking items tend to be the most popular. Pantheon is played mostly support at the moment. Yeah, he's kind of down here. Renekton probably won't run it. Renekton's way too tailored towards AD ratios these days. It's his third most built mythic, and it has a positive win rate. Only 3% play rate and 600 games, but honestly, just go lethality Renekton. It's so strong. I'll put him here. There might be a world where he's actually good with Jak'Sho, and the item's just so strong as a enhancer to low base stats. Like squishies. It'd be like the Talon Gore Drinker situation where you build it not because of the damage and the stuff it gives, but because it's resistances and it allows you to stay in the fight for longer, which would be more concerning for pro play where these issues become bigger, where you're less likely to go lethality. That's probably the better way to put it. I'll put Renekton at the top here. There's a chance that he's higher, like here. Shyvana is a champ I'm kind of tempted to take off. I don't think Shyvana top's playable. I mean, it is, but it's hardly. It's probably her best top lane mythic. The other ones don't even seem to be performing that well, so I'll put her up here. But Shyvana top's one of those champs where she's kind of just fallen out of favor. Singed is a Jak'Sho runner. From what I know, he's really, really good with this item. You can run it as a substitute for Riftmaker to be more tanky. And because you're constantly, or you're in combat and you're constantly dodging in and out of combat and you're in the enemy team, it actually makes it really good. So he's probably up here, to be honest. It might be his best in slot. I'm not gonna put it as best in slot because it's hard to tell comparing it to Riftmaker. Both are very similar games. It does have a 2% higher win rate, but it is survivor bias. So the later the game goes on, it becomes harder to determine if the item's actually really, really good or it just helps at that point in the game. Silas doesn't build the item. Nice. That makes my life a lot easier. Zach probably builds the item almost completely, like over Heartsteel. I just don't think Heartsteel gives him the resistance that he needs. Where like Zach has really nice health scaling, but because it has no resistances tied to it, it's just kind of stunting him. So yeah, Jak'Sho is his best mythic. Radiant Virtue seems to be good, but small sample size, so kind of hard to tell. But Zach Top definitely was something which was a lot better in the past, well, the past being last patch. Probably his best in slot mythic, or at least one of his best, so he can go up here. This isn't like how strong the champion is, it's how strong the mythic is on them. So I could have someone like, who's a really terrible top lane. Someone like Jarvan could be in the S tier because he's good with the mythic, but he's not actually good in the top lane. Tryndamere. I might take Jarvan out though. He's hardly played. Not really Jak'Sho runner whatsoever. I think the best way to tell how where the champions go is like if it's not in their top 10 mythics or they just have a terrible win rate with it, it's there. If it's 8, it's around here. If it's 6 around here, 4 around here, top 2's around here. Best in slot is best in slot. Vayne is probably not gonna run this. I don't really see her running it. No. I love Riftmaker Vayne popping up in every single time I type in Vayne. Vladimir probably won't run it. It does have a lot of health tied to it, but he's very Night Harvester bound. Does have a positive win rate. It's 41 games. It's kind of hard to say. I can see him having some qualities with running it, so I'll put him in the D tier, but there is a chance. So Yone is probably a Thimble Winter. Is an Iceborne runner from what I remember from yesterday. Can run this item. Has a good win rate. Might be up here actually. Oh, like Yone has some options. I think can work. I think Renekton also possibly can go and can work, but I think because Renekton has a lot of mythics which also do work, it's not really worth it. Wukong might run it because of the stacking armor, but I think he's very, very Sheen reliant, so yeah, it doesn't look like it. Jax is also pretty Sheen reliant, so probably won't be Jax either. Has some, I mean, Jax's is R, I guess, is a bonus resistances, so you can become a tank bot, but it's like his third kind of best mythic, so it can work. Udyr probably runs this as his primary. It'll be interesting to see though. Actually, he'll run AD first and then he'll run this. Yeah. AD Udyr is definitely his best. It's around here. Akali is a ratio driven champion at this point, so unlikely. Yeah, not really. Aatrox might run it. From what I know, he can. Yeah, he's eventually got 2k games on it with a 59% win rate. Aatrox likes being in the fight, and it has a health gain where you like suck the health from the nearby people. So yeah, I could see it working. It's probably up here as one of his best. I'll have to see how it develops, but might be an option. Might be worth trying. Definitely. Olaf is probably not going to run this, but he has games on it. Olaf just works with a lot of items. He's pretty all round, so I'll put him in that tier. Nasus probably can run it. I'd recommend running Sheen. Sheen is a very crucial thing. Yeah, I think Nasus is too Sheen reliant for it to really work. I'll put Olaf in here. Camille won't run it. No. But that's like lower. It's like E tier level. Rumble Warso probably won't run it. Doesn't have any resistance scalings within his kit. Kind of Night Harvester bound or Riftmaker or Protobout. So yeah, not really gonna work there. Darius probably won't run it either, but I can see him running it. Yeah, he's got a couple better mythics. Definitely, yeah. He's like Renekton here. Can run it. Is a bruiser. Does benefit from having more stats in that way, but probably not. I don't imagine Fiora runs it. Yep, no. Gangplank. Nope. Not at all. Right. Nah, probably. I imagine Nah runs primarily the Frostfire. I keep typing in Nah with an M. Yeah, Nah probably goes over Frostfire or Stridebreaker or Triforce as his main. Yeah, it doesn't look like he really has any kind of 95 games, kind of terrible win rate. Gragas probably runs this as his primary, I imagine. Yeah, it's probably better than Everfrost, except for no one has any games on it, so it's really hard to tell. I mean, Roa, Everfrost, Iceborne, it might be something, but it's hard to tell at the moment. Not really any games on it whatsoever. Terrible win rate, but it's kind of hard to work with that data. Gwen won't run it. It's just not really a Gwen style item. Trundle might run it. Trundle does benefit from being tanky, but he's probably an Iceborne Gauntlet through and through. Yeah, Iceborne Gauntlet, Trundle and Triforce. Trundle definitely his best mythics. Can run Heartsteel, can run Sundera, but the other two are by far his best. So if you're running any, run those, definitely. Swain I could see, but I think Swain is also kind of hard bound to Liandry's. I tried Roa Swain, but it just doesn't feel good compared to what Liandry's offers and how much people are building health at the moment. Jak'Sho has some games, it's better than Roa. It's actually probably one of his better ones, but yeah, it's more of a can work. Maokai, oh no, I've gone the wrong side. Maud, I think runs this as his primary. I think Maud is a really good Jak'Sho runner. Yeah, Jak'Sho Maud, but it's also kind of data biased because Riftmaker is built more first, whereas Jak'Sho is built more second. But yeah, definitely an option if you want to go more tanky style Maud over a Riftmaker. I've always preferred the tankier Maud because it feels nicer when you're running something like Demonic and you're just in the fight taking all the damage. Something like a Rylai's Demonic Jak'Sho. So it used to be Frostfire, but Frostfire one's definitely nowhere near as good as it used to be. It's still an option into heavy AD teams, but yeah, Jak'Sho might be his best. So that's Shen. I picked up a wrong character. Nice. Shen is a Heartsteel user, but probably can run it as an option. Yep, it's his second best joint with Iceborne. Shen can run a lot of mythics, but unless you're ex-Petu, it doesn't tend to work. So yeah, it's one of his best. Lilia is almost guaranteed a Liandry's user. Liandry's being strong at the moment, combined with Conqueror being better. Yeah, definitely Liandry's can run it. Is an option. It's probably around C tier. Why do I keep going further down? Nice. Kled is very AD ratio driven. Probably won't run Jak'Sho whatsoever. No, not really. Has a significant amount better mythics. Yeah, it's like it's probably D tier. It's probably not even up in the C tier. Ornn. We'll run this item. Heartsteel I think is pretty bad on Ornn. It's a pretty bait item. Plus the resistances really help Ornn because it feeds into his E damage. So that's also a benefit of having a lot of resistances. And an unkillable Ornn with Jak'Sho, strong. Whereas Heartsteel, I mean, you can still be kind of countered by it. So countered by percentage health. So yeah, it's his best, definitely. Karma isn't really a top laner, but we'll go with the data we've got. Roa, Night Harvester, Iceborne, Heartsteel. Yeah, not really gonna be running this. I guess it's an option if you like your tank Karma. Poppy probably runs this as her main. I can't remember if she runs Heartsteel primarily or Frostfire. I think she has a couple of options. Oh, it's not actually. Yeah, it's Divine Cinderer. Definitely with the health stacking, probably her best. It'll probably go to Heartsteel afterwards, then Frostfire, then Jak'Sho. So it can work, I guess. Yeah, it's more of a B tier. Wait, did I? Wait, more. Oh, yeah, because Mod has the other one. Aurelia, I think Aurelia can run this item actually. As an option. Yeah, definitely. It could be. It's hard to tell, but it could be her best mythic if it had more games. We don't know at the moment, but Shilbo looks like her best. It's definitely up there. Aurelia is definitely a user of this. Situtional probably runs Heartsteel as her main, but I wonder what Jak'Sho looks like. It's alright, I guess. Yeah, it works. It's kind of around here. Could probably fall on the tail end of A. Tom Kench is a Heartsteel user, has really nice health ratios, can build demonics next patch as well when those changes go through, so it only pushed more towards it. Oh, it is actually Jak'Sho. I think Heartsteel can work really well on Tom Kench, but I think Tom Kench top is a bit it suffers from a lot of champions which are currently meta, so Jak'Sho is his best, but it'll probably be Heartsteel next patch, so I'd pay attention to that. Garen likes to run Heartsteel for some reason, but he's not actually that great with it. Jak'Sho doesn't look that great. Honestly, Gale Force probably is his third best after Triforce Stridebreaker. You can run Iceborne, it is an option. Yeah, it's not really gonna work. Cho'Gath, I think it's his best because he needs resistances. Cho'Gath already has a substantially large amount of health. Yeah, it's around the same. It's one of his better ones. It might be. It's not quite best in slot. Heartsteel does just kind of have the edge, but Cho'Gath needs some love. He falls really flat into the current meta. Volibear likes the new Sheen item, but could probably run Jak'Sho. Yeah, it's alright. I kind of hate Riftmaker and Divine Cinderer. I think Triforce Volibear is actually kind of underrated, but yeah, I could see it working decently. So it can work, definitely. But almost always Iceborne. It does mean Volibear's better into more AD focused comps. Because if you're running Heartsteel and like you're 4-skill Heartsteel because you're against an AP laner, then they're probably gonna be ranged or they're gonna bully you because it'll be something like a Maud or Gwen who are really good into percentage health. So Volibear's probably kind of locked into AD comps against AD comps, but there are opportunities, I guess. And Lowy probably can run it. It isn't as good as some of her other mythics, but yeah, there's definitely room for Lowy to run it. It can work. Jarvan, probably another champion it can work on. Jarvan's got a lot of AD ratios, but AD ratios buffs so recently, so it's probably mainly Gore Drinker. It's not really that great. It's probably around here somewhere. Malphite, I think, has to run this item. It's the only really great one on him, past Frostfire. If he needs like something to go against Magic Resist. Yeah, it's his best, I guess. But you're really only playing Malphite into AD comps, so it's around here. They're very similar. Set is definitely not going to be running this over his AD alternatives. AD ratios are really high on Set. Definitely run Stridebreaker or Gore Drinker. You can go Bork first. You can also go Prowler's Claw if you're into that kind of tech. Heartsteel is still his most played. I guess people just want to have fun with it, but yeah, definitely Stridebreaker, Gore Drinker. Can run it. Literally no games really though. Hard to tell. Warwick probably runs it sometimes. Yep. Warwick has a lot of good mythics actually. That's Warwick Jungle. Yeah, I mean it's around there. It's one of his best three. It's definitely like around his Cinderer and Iceborne win rate. Argot probably won't run it. He doesn't really gain anything from the suck, so he's more of a Heartsteel or a Iceborne user, or an Eclipse or a Proud. Argot's got this problem where he's too needing in. The tank mythics are too nerfed towards ranged users. Like, they don't benefit ranged users anywhere near as much as they benefit the melee users. So almost always he's gonna go for offensive, like Prowler's Claw or Clips. It's where Stridebreaker used to be so good on him, but it kind of, well, I mean, when they took away the dash, it kind of stopped being anywhere near as good. I think Argot's a case of it can work, but yeah, take the lethality options. It's just better most of the time. Casante's nuts with this item, from what I remember. Yeah, Casante's really good with this item. It gives Casante a place in the meta. We don't know how strong Casante is in pro play yet, and like what his skill ceiling is, but definitely strong with this item. It's a lot of resistances, and he has resistance scaling, so very good. Mundo is going to be running Heart Steel. Doesn't really want Jak'Sho. There is room for it, but it's a case of it's kind of bait. Yeah, it is around bait too. Scion and Maokai. I think Maokai wants to run this item, but Heartsteel can work on Maokai. Play Maokai support if you want to play Maokai, definitely. Jak'Sho is his best, yeah. Heartsteel is his second. If Heartsteel was stronger, then it would be. I think a good way of telling is Maokai has Maokai wants a lot of health, and if the health item isn't Maokai's best, then it's probably weak. Scion is also another champ which is just kind of in the bin at the moment. He's too vulnerable as a really high health target into the amount of anti-health items that are in the game at the moment. Sion's best mythic is Jak'Sho, and that also feels bad when he wants to build the tank the Heartsteel. So yeah, Heartsteel is definitely the best tank mythic in the game. I think situationally Iceborne is also really good, but I've played Iceborne, it feels bad to use, and I think when you go Iceborne, you're really wanting to play into AD comps where you can go Sunfires. So yeah, I think Jak'Sho will probably get nerfed slightly, and if it doesn't, then I imagine Heartsteel will get buffed up slightly, because when this is for the Jak'Sho list on like how strong the item is on champs, where there's a lot of champs which can run it. Some of them aren't even really some of them aren't even really tanks. Yeah, the item's good, definitely, and it is definitely the best tank item. So we shall see how that goes. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm. I want to be able to grow, make more videos. It would mean the world to me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.